Welcome to Pep Coding, and today's question is maximum of an array. So let us see what the question says. Suppose we are given an array of 5 index. The elements in the array are 22, 2, 17, 33, and 19. And the indexing of the array starts from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I have to do, I have to find the maximum element in this array. I have to traverse the array and find the maximum element that I could find. Here, the maximum element was 33. So what are my faith and expectation to solve this question? So my expectation is that 0 comma n is going to find me the maximum element that I could find in the array, which is 33 right now. So what is my faith? Because faith is necessary when it comes to recursion. My faith says that array 1 comma n is going to find me maximum element from starting here till here. What it's going to do, it's going to find me the maximum from index 1 to n. But I have to find the maximum element from here to here in the whole array. So I have to meet my faith with expectation. And how am I going to do that? So my faith is going to find the maximum from here till here. So what if I find the maximum from the faith and compare that with the first element? I could find the maximum. That okay, this is the maximum element that I could find. So what if I compare array 1 comma n, which is my faith, I will compare it with the first element of the array. And if the element that recursion brought me was bigger, I would return a bigger element. And if the index 0 element, that means the 22 was bigger, I will return it. So let's write this much code and then we'll see the base case. So here what is happening, the recursion is taking place first because we are finding the maximum element from the recursion and then we are comparing it with the first element. So I'm creating an element MISA, which is going to contain the maximum element recursion could find. We call the recursion display index plus 1 because I am getting new element with every iteration. Now what I'm going to do, that if the first element that I bought was greater than the element that recursion bought me, that MISA bought me. Now what is happening, the first element is bigger than the recursion one, so I'm going to return the first element. And if this is not the case, the recursion element is bigger, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bot MISA back and say that this element was bigger. Nobody was bigger than this element bought by recursion. So let us try run this. Because without dry run, there is no recursion. Let me erase them. Okay. Let me draw the stack. The stack is necessary. See how my iteration is working. I hope you can see that. Okay. Let me call this the first call and this with the second call. So the counter is pointing towards 0th index. Here, this is my array and this is my index. Now it's pointing towards the first 0th index. So what will happen? The 0th index is pushed in the stack. and the first call takes place. Now the first call say that index should be incremented. It should be moved to the next element. So my counter incremented and now it's pointing towards the first element, and the first element is pushed in the stack. Now again the first call takes place. It says that the index should be incremented. It's incremented and now it's pointing towards the second index. The second index is pushed in the stack, and again the first call takes place. Now what will happen? The incrementation again, does it work? The index is incremented. Now the stack is pushed with a new element with the index 3. Now again the first call takes place, the index increments, and now a new element 4 with fourth index is pushed in the stack. Now again the first call takes place, the index incremented, now the counter is pointing towards here, which is 4k with index 5. But here there is no fifth index. There is no element next to 4. But I have to compare 19th with something so that I could find the maximum element. But there is no element over here. So what I would do, I would make it return back with the value 19 so that I could compare 19 with the previous element and find the maximum. Now what will happen? Does not exist, so it will wipe out. Now the second call of the fourth index takes place, which will return back the value 19 to the next element, and it will wipe out. Now what will happen? The second call for third index takes place, so it will compare that, okay, that my index, array index, is it bigger than the element that is returned to me? Now the 33 was bigger than the 19, so what will happen? That it will win, an array index will return. That means that this will wipe out and it will return the maximum element, which is 33 over here. Now again what will happen? The second call for the second index done. Now what will happen? It will compare that, see if 17 is bigger than 33, is it? Now what will happen? The 33 will destroy 17 and it says that, see, I'm a bigger element. What will happen? It will return 33. Now two calls were taken. It will wipe out and it will return the value 33 to compare it with the first index. Now the second call for the first index takes place. Now it will compare, see, is 2 bigger than 33? It's not. So what it's going to do, it will win. 33 will win again and it will return the value 33. Now what I said, that I will compare the first element with the one coming with recursion. Recursion bought me 33 and the first element was 22. So second call for 0th index, sorry, this is wiped out, is taking place. Now what will happen? It will compare that, see, is the element bigger than bought by recursion? It's not. So what will happen? It will return the maximum element, which is 33. So it will wipe out and I get my maximum element, which is 33. So what was the base case? The base case was that, see, there is no element next to the fourth index. That means it should return with its value so that I could compare my value, that which was 19 over here, with the next element. Let me write the base case. So base case said that if my index is equal to n minus 1, that means if I write the 5, if I have 5 elements, now indexing of array starts from 0. So I should get my last element at 4th index. So I'm writing n minus 1. You should return with your value, with your array id x. Now let's try to run this and see if it's right. There's an error. Okay, here was the maximum element. Now this is display one. Let's run this. So we're getting the resulted output. Let's try to submit it. And it's accepted. So I'll meet you in the next question and see if you could solve this question by yourself.